Okay, so I've got two banking-related stories. One a little newer than the other. The old one is this. So here's Bloomberg. Now, we've said here that the taxpayers bailed out Wall Street. They didn't bail out Main Street, which they didn't. Meaning, where's the work? Where's the billions of dollars put into works programs around the country? Where's the they spent $15 trillion on the banks. Where's the $15 trillion in works program? That did you do that? Did you do the equal? No, they didn't. So this is from February 20th, 2013. Bloomberg asked the question, why should taxpayers give banks $83 billion a year? Wait a minute, what? And I'm not talking about quantitative easing. That's another video where the Fed would just give money straight to the banks. This is from, by the way, Bloomberg editorial board said this. They said, what if we told you that by our calculations, the largest U.S. banks aren't really profitable at all? What if the billions of dollars they allegedly earn for their shareholders were almost entirely a gift from U.S. taxpayers? This is Bloomberg. This isn't Think Progress or Mother Jones or Salon. This is Bloomberg editorial. So they go on to say lots of things that'll blow your mind. One of them is banks have a powerful incentive to get too big and too unwieldy. So what happens is the banks that are too big to fail, the government says, we'll bail you out. That's the implicit agreement, is if you guys fail, we'll bail you out. So what that does is that means the American taxpayer will bail them out. So what that does is that's an implied subsidy, meaning now those big banks, which are the most risky financial institutions in the country, now they get special treatment, meaning they get to borrow money at a lower rate than they would have, because their creditors, their lenders know that they're backed up by the implicit bailout of the American government. So it's not really that risky. Even though it is risky, it's not risky for their lender or the creditor to the banks because they know they'll get it back. Right. So Bloomberg did their investigation, and they found out the top 5 banks account for $64 billion of the total subsidy. So they figured out that giving banks this implicit subsidy lowers their operating costs, so they get money cheaper. And it's to the $83 billion a year. That's what, in fact, they say they get a 0.8 percentage point.
Oh, my God, really?
Which doesn't sound like much, but you know.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's huge, right? In fact,
anybody who has a mortgage will tell you 0.8 is unbelievable.
Yes, multiplied by the total liabilities of the 10 largest U.S. banks by assets, it amounts to a taxpayer subsidy of $83 billion a year. To put that figure in perspective, Bloomberg says, it's tantamount to the government giving the banks 3 cents of every tax dollar collected.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, $83 billion. I was actually just listening to something about subsidized housing and what a huge subsidized housing crisis we have in this country. $83 billion is almost exactly the amount of money that would be required to give subsidized housing to every single person in this country who needs it.
So these are great points. I want to do a whole new video on that. Hang on one second. It says the top 5 banks account for $64 billion of the total subsidy, an amount roughly equal to their typical annual profits. So all these big brainiacs, all these great money guys who know how banking works and know how to keep the economy going, well, they don't know dill. They don't know anything. What they're getting is welfare from the government. They get the government says, don't worry, we'll bail you out. So they get cheaper money than everybody else. And then that equals their profit. What their profit is what they're getting subsidized from the government. That's their profit. So if they had to go on an even playing field, they wouldn't be making profit. They wouldn't be making any money.
It would go back to the way it was, which was banking used to be a conservative institution. It used to be that it wasn't insanely profitable. It was consistently profitable. And it used to be that banks held more than 50% of the money that they had lent out, that they could pay back serious issues if they needed to.
So we're basically paying banks to put us in danger.
Absolutely.
So we're basically paying banks. We're giving them, we're going to give you an extra $83 billion a year if you guys keep being risky and doing crazy stuff, and they are. So,
which used to be, the thing is that
this will not change if Hillary is president. This will not change if Donald Trump is president. This will not change if anybody else is president except Bernie Sanders. Go ahead.
The thing is that the bailout deals came with, basically through the FDIC and things like that, came at the same time as Glass-Steagall. It used to come with insurances. We will back up your bank.
Right.
If you will promise not to do certain things, like take depositors' money and invest it in risky hedge funds. And once Glass-Steagall was removed, they should have removed those assurances with them because it was part of the same deal.
That's a great point.
Then again, that goes back to Bill Clinton.
That goes back to Bill Clinton deregulating Wall Street at the behest of his big money donors. Now, there's another part to this story.